LGL, or Lead Generate for Listings series, and I'm really happy to have with us here today Angela Lee. So for those of you who don't know Angela, she is a mega agent up at our Auburn office. Yeah, so that's where she resides. So if you have not met her, please come up and introduce yourself after class, but I'm just gonna kind of let her take it away.
Okay.
And I'll be here if you need any help.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right, sounds good. So yeah, so I work out of the Auburn Business Center. So just to give you guys a little background, my challenge is average sales price. My average sales price right now is $130,000. So imagine how many deals you have to do to get to the point that you make a lot of money. So yeah, so and I've been focusing on for sale by owners and expireds to get my average sales price up. So I have shared a few things. Do a lot of you work for sale by owners right now, or is it kind of new to, like, anybody got any input on that? Just, I know for me, for sale by owners, I've avoided them in the past because they really don't want to work with an agent. They've had a bad experience and they are not interested. They want to just sell it on their own. They can be rude. They can be, you know, they don't know that they need your help. So it is kind of intimidating to call them, but what I've found is that there is an angle that you can work and actually build rapport and get them to list with you. So, because eventually they all, I mean, we've all seen it. We drive by the for sale by signs, for sale by owner signs, and a week later there's a real estate sign in their yard. So I know I've kicked myself many times and said I should have called them, I should have followed up more. So speaking of that, just the avenues to find for sale by owners, the yard signs is one. And then I put together a little list of where I've been getting for sale by owners, the internet sites. Yeah, so these are some great places: forsalebyowner.com, owners.com, FSBO, sellby.com. Don't find a lot on those two. I think they're more across the country. There's more listed there. But Zillow, I find a lot on Zillow. And one thing I wanted to show you on Zillow, one angle that you can use when you're talking to a for sale by owner that's on Zillow. So if we just pull up, like, I'll use my hometown. So to look, the listing type, you go under here and you can deselect this and do by owner. And then that brings up on the right all of the ones that are for sale by owner right now. And one of the things that these people do not realize, when you bring these up, when you bring up a for sale by owner on Zillow, do you see where the property owner is listed? We have the 3 agents that are paying Zillow and Trulia to be in that position, and then the property owner is actually the 4th one, and they're not highlighted very well. So if you come up against an objection that, you know, the for sale by owner doesn't want to pay commission, they've kind of already committed to it if they're advertising on Zillow and Trulia, because these agents are going to get the buyer leads on their listing. So, so that's kind of a lot of for sale by owners don't realize that. So when you show them this, that's a huge, you know, a huge eye opener for them. So overcoming that objection that they don't want to pay a commission. So if you're already committed to paying half. The other thing, Craigslist, you can find for sale by owners on Craigslist. I'll just go there and show you how that looks. Sorry, I should have had more than one tab open. And then if you, is it not going? It's thinking.
It's going to .org.
It's what?
It's .org for Craigslist.
Oh.
I mean, they brought you in New Hampshire.
Oh, yeah. It's .org. Okay. And then it's still in Hampshire. Why is it?
Just go to the side and change it to name.
Okay. Well, that's okay. It doesn't really matter what state. It's just where to find it. It's the real estate for sale, and then you can actually pull down under here the by owners. So you can weed through all the for sale by agents out there. So that's another good place to get the for sale by owners. The other is on Facebook. I'm sure you all have a Facebook account. I'm actually, in my area, there's a for sale by owner group. So I joined that group. So anytime they post something on Facebook, I know that, so look for those type of groups on Facebook as well. So, and then as far as like when we contact them, obviously we have scripts that we use. I find when I'm talking to a FSBO, it's just like you come from contribution. You just, offer to help them. Say, I noticed you're home yourself, ask them if that's correct. Ask them how it's going. Just, how's it been going? I'm sure they'll tell you a lot of Keller Williams agents have called them. I get that a lot. So we just, have you had a lot of showings? Have you had any offers? How many agents have called you? I was talking to a for sale by owner last week, and he said, "Oh my gosh, you agents, you keep calling." And I said, "I can make those calls stop. So all we need to do is get together for 15 minutes, and I can show you how I get home sold." I'm bearing them down, so definitely. So when you hang up with a for sale by owner, a lot of times it's not the first phone call that, they don't want to meet with you. So it's good to have an 8x8 in place, and I've included just what I use for my 8x8. So you can see kind of what I do, but it's just a lot of follow-up, and it's all in the follow-up. The more you follow up, eventually they are going to list with an agent, and you want to be that agent. So, the initial contact, I'll either knock on their door and introduce myself, or if I can, just give them a call and catch up with them. As far as how often to catch up with them, like on the first, when you first see a for sale by owner, call 3 times a day until you reach them. A lot of them work, so they're doing this in their spare time. You can mention that as well, that, I have tried to call you a few times and I haven't been able to reach you, so you can imagine the buyers probably can't reach you as well. So just anything you can use to convince them that you do add value, and there is a lot of support they get from paying the commission. So, but then definitely send a personal note with your business card after. Just give them your contact information and let them know how to reach you when they're ready. And then I just send a few things just on our statistics. You can use the NAR. NAR has a chart on where buyers come from, and very few for sale by owners, very few buyer transactions are coming from for sale by owners. Most of it is with the agent. So send them that. You can send them a list of solds in the area that you've sold. So just to make them realize that you are going to add value. And then I call them, I'll check in with them, every week until they list. Some of them do, they get frustrated. They're like, "I told you I didn't want to list with an agent." I'm like, "That's fine. I'm just checking in, see if I can help you in any way. Do you have any questions?" If you really get back to their motivation, really try to determine what their motivation is. So when you meet with them, definitely you want to have our company information with you. I use the one right from the All Partners meeting that shows how much business Keller Williams is doing, and how much business we're doing, how much we're ahead of the other companies in the area. I find that helpful. People really like that. You want to give them your information if you have sold. If you don't, then just rely on the companies. We've sold this many transactions, and this many homes, and helped this many people. So testimonials. If you can sell one for sale by owner and have them, get them to list, sell them, give them a great experience. Get a testimonial from them and use it over and over and over again. So okay, so you set the appointment. there's different ways that you can set an appointment, and I kind of use different angles. Sometimes we have a buyer that is really looking for that house, and that's the easy way really to get into a for sale by owner as well. If you have a buyer that their home meets the criteria, then you can just call them, set an appointment, ask them a few questions about their home, and then let them know, you know, I do have a buyer that meets that criteria. I'd love to stop by and preview the home and see if it really fits what my buyer is looking for. If they don't want to do that, sometimes they say, no, if you have a buyer, you know, we'll pay a 3% commission, but we don't want to just have you come by. If you have a buyer, though, you can come by with that buyer. If that's the case, then I run it by my buyer and just, you know, say, you know, I found this home, it's for sale by owner. We can certainly look at it. I'll negotiate the commission with the for sale by owner, and maybe it'll be a good fit for you. So just another way that you can build rapport. So another thing, if you do have an appointment with a for sale by owner, you know, have a clipboard and have a list of questions. Really dig deep, drill down into what their motivation is. Where do they need to be? When do they need to be there? Why is it so important for them to sell for sale by owner? If you can show them a way to sell their home through you and add value and actually net as much more money than what they can actually net, then, you know, those are the things that are going to convince them to actually list with you. So, and when you leave, always close, like always just say, you know, when do you plan on hiring a powerful agent like I am to get your home sold? And a lot of times, you know, they say, well, we're going to try it a little while longer on our own. That's fine. Just stay in touch with them. I find that the follow-up is really important with for sale by owners. So, and then always send a personal note after you meet them. That just adds another touch. Show them your value for sure. So, and then if you don't get anywhere with them with the 8x8 after you go through all those steps, then just add them to a 12 direct and keep an eye on them, follow up with them instead of, you know, once a week, maybe once a month. Because if they're really motivated within that 8-week time frame, they're gonna list. So. Okay.
How do you balance the work that they need to do with the work that you're going to do? In other words, you go in with a buyer.
Mm-hmm.
You just automatically take over and make sure that all their paperwork and everything is done correctly, or do you?
For my buyer.
For your buyer.
Yeah.
So you push back on them
Mm-hmm.
if they're not willing to hire you doing something.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I never, and a lot of times, I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of times for sale by owners don't even realize that by Maine state law, they have to disclose certain things. And I've had for sale by owners ask me to provide the seller's property disclosure to them, and I'm like, I can't do that. These are forms that, you know, that's against the real estate commission laws. If I brought a buyer, I would definitely sit down, fill out the seller's property disclosure with them, but I would never leave it with them. So that's a value of, you know, and also bring up the liability that they have in selling their own house. You know, if you don't disclose something that you were supposed to, then something could come back at you after the fact. So definitely that's a great way to just show them another reason why they should be listing with an agent. So.
Yeah, can I jump into a sec? Yep, so really important, don't ever give your forms from zip forms to somebody else to use. You know, we pay dues, I mean, you all pay realtor dues to get those forms. They are realtor only forms. We do see it a lot in the state of Maine that people are giving those forms to other people. My thought is, why would you give that to somebody who's not paying those dues when you guys are paying those dues? So if you ever want to show them what they look like, you actually can print it right from zip forms with the big word sample across the front of it. So, you know, if they ask you about them and you just wanted to maybe show them a copy of it, I don't know that I would even leave it with them.
I wouldn't.
But you can, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend not leaving it with them. But you can print one from Zip Forms, just when you go to print, say print sample, and it'll print one that says sample right across it. So you could always ask them about disclosures and just say, well, this is actually what's required. In the state. So just want to mention, don't ever give your Zip Form forms to somebody else.
Right. I had a for sale by owner. They had been listed previously with another agent, and then they decided to sell on their own. And I mentioned to them that I had found their home in MLS and that I did have a copy of the disclosures. I said, just has anything changed since you listed it, anything with the heating system? And she's like, can you give me a copy of that? And I'm like, I really can't, because, you know, it is the other agent. You should have gotten a copy from them. So I try not to give them anything that would, you know, I want them to list with me because I add value to them. So.
Angela, can you maybe touch on some of the biggest objections you get when
Yes.
you call on those, and how you maybe handle some of those objections? I'm sure one of them is paying a commission.
Yes,
Right?
the number one objection is paying a commission. And then with that, you just have to show them that there is value in paying commission. So, you know, I just always go back to, if I could show you a way that you could list your home with me and net more than what you are going to net as a for sale by owner, wouldn't it be worth your time to sit down with me and just and find that information? And then if they still resist, I'd love to share how I market homes and get homes sold. And if I could just schedule 15 minutes with you to sit down and share those strategies, then you have nothing to lose, everything to gain, and who knows, you might take away a way to market your home that you haven't thought of yet. So when do you have time? Today or tomorrow, type of thing. Just always go back to trying to get the appointment. That's the number one thing when you're talking to for sale by owners. Set the appointment, because if you can get in front of them, actually see their home, it's a whole lot easier than just having a conversation. So that's always the number one goal, whether you're talking to for sale by owners or expireds, just get in the door. So with the commission, I let them know, you can also ask them, do you know how I market homes? And of course they're going to say no. Well, let me just spend 15 minutes with you to go over how we do that. So usually you can get in the door with that. A lot of them say, well, I'll pay you a commission if you bring a buyer. And I usually say, that's great. I'm glad that you'll pay a 3% commission if I bring a buyer. That's great to know. However, I have, 40 or 50 sellers at a time that I'm trying to sell their home. I'm prospecting and looking for buyers for their homes. So I can't really, the chances of me finding a buyer for your home when I don't have it listed are much fewer than if you actually listed with me. So kind of go at that angle. Another objection is, we're just gonna, we just got it out on Zillow, we just got it out on Craigslist, we're gonna give it a little more time. And, I just, again, try to get them to just see the value of at least meeting with me for 15 minutes, that, there'll be no pressure, you don't have to list with me after if you don't want to, but I at least want to share with you how I get houses sold, so that when you're ready to list with an agent, you know who I am, and you get with the right agent the first time. So other objections, I should have brought my little objection book. Anybody else making phone calls?
Question. Do you find as a whole on FSBOs that the price is way out of line? That was a big price?
Usually, yeah, they're usually overpriced. So
That brings up to me, when you're talking, I'm gonna net you more money when the price isn't realistic.
Right.
In their head, I'm gonna get 200 grand for this, I owe 75, I'm gonna walk away with like a quarter.
Right. They definitely, and that's another question that you can ask them, I think, on this sheet. It's like, how did you arrive at your price? And a lot of times it is, they need to to net a certain amount. So it's just getting the market data, like, how did you arrive at the price? Have you seen what the market is doing? Has anyone shared what's actually going on in the marketplace? Do you know what your competition is? Because, you're up against all of main listings, and, the agents that are working with buyers, that's where they're checking first. So it's an exposure thing for sale by owners too. So I try to relay that yes, great, you can sell your house for sale by yourself. But really, are you selling yourself short? Because you're not getting as much exposure as I would get if I do this. So,
Do you know what the current stats are? I don't, but
as far as,
I believe, and I'm just, don't quote me, you might want to look it up. But in general, for sale by owners generally sell for about 10% less than properties sold with an agent. And
actually,
I don't know what that's at right now.
is it 12% right now? Because it was 16 at one point. Because
so 12%,
it was,
and only about 9%. This is last year's number. So, and then only about 9% of sale by owners actually ever get the transaction themselves.
mm-hmm.
So,
good. That is
easy, quick numbers to know.
Right, and that's helpful if you are going for an appointment. Just if you use that statistic, that maybe we just sit down and go over the market, what the market's doing, then you might find that you can net more money, even if you pay the commission. So.
You find those stats on National Association of Realtors?
Yep. I think that's
It's like Realtor.org, just kind of the realtor side of Realtor.com, and just.
Yeah. Org is where you get the where buyers come from sheet too, and it actually breaks it down. It's like, it's a good visual. It has like the number with agents and then all the other options, and for sale by owners like down at the bottom with how many houses. Yeah, so that's a great tool. Other objections, like I hear all the time that they're just not with the realtor that they had, that they had a bad experience. So I always say, well, I'm sorry to hear that. How are you? Good. That's all right. Sorry. What's that? Okay. Can't remember what I was saying. Where was I? Oh, bad experience with the realtor. Thank you. Yeah, so I always just apologize for that and let them know that the number one reason that agents, sellers aren't happy with their agent is the communication piece. So I kind of go in to, I have a system in place that I stay in touch with my sellers so that doesn't happen. You know what I'm doing all the time because I'm following up with you at least every other week. So that's another angle. Anybody else got any other objections that they've come up against?
When they tell you they're gonna try a little longer, a little while, trying things down, it's great, when they we'll touch base in 30 days.
Right.
And at that point, we'll get what we sell you.
Right. Usually say that's fine. I can understand why you want to try to sell it a little while longer on your own because you just got all your marketing out there. However, and you can use that this year. Typically we slow down in the fall, like October, November, we typically slow down. So you're gonna, if you wait a month or two, you're gonna miss that marketing time that you're getting the more exposure for your property. This year is an election year, so historically, we've tracked the numbers, and historically, in an election year, we slow down sooner. So we're preparing to slow down come August this year just because of all the election things that are going on. And, I would hate to see you in the house another year, because you waited too long. So just make them aware of that. So, yep. Anything else?
I add one more.
Yeah.
I know one of the strategies that some people will do is to call on Mondays. Call for sale by owners on Monday and ask them how their weekend went. Did they have any showings over the weekend? Because traditionally that's when most showings will happen. So that might be when they're feeling like, oh, I had a weekend, I didn't have any showings. So that's, if I was following up with FSBOs, I would think about calling them on Mondays and just saying, oh, how would your weekend go? Did you have any showings? And you might pull a hot sheet before you do that and say, well, just so you know, 10 other houses went under contract, since Friday.
Right.
You're just providing them information. You're not doing it like in a mean-spirited way. It's just, hey, well, I thought I'd check in, give you a little update, what's going on in the market. And by the way, 10 other homes, went under contract
Right.
this weekend.
How many offers did you receive over the
How many
weekend?
showings did you have? So
Yeah.
just kind of, putting those thoughts in there.
Do you ever do open houses anymore?
I never have. I've heard that strategy in the past, and that's something that I've always said I was gonna try. But I haven't used that I haven't actually done the open houses, but I have used the tactic that, okay, you're getting all these buyer calls, you're getting buyer calls, and maybe we can work together in the meantime until you decide to list, and maybe the buyers that looked at your home that weren't interested, you could share that list with me. So, and it would be a win-win, and I'll just help you along the way. So I have used that before, so, yep. Any other questions?
How long does it take you to get a for sale owner? They tell us that it takes, 6 to 8 weeks before they actually list
Right.
hardcore ones. So what is your process as far as how long it takes you to nail?
Yeah, I do, I call them once a week and put them on the 8x8 so that they're getting stuff in the mail, personal notes and stuff for me. It's hard to say sometimes. They're for sale by owner kind of all over the place, where expireds, you call an expired, you know that those expireds are gonna relist with someone, usually within the first week or so. So, for sale by owners, I think they do take a little more work. They do take, you need to build the rapport more with them. But if you can actually set an appointment and get through the door, I think, the chances that you list it are pretty good. I found that, so, yeah. Set the appointment.
I've run into just a lot of, pardon my French, but really arrogant, like the mentality of.
I think I said that at the beginning.
The ego
Yeah.
involved is really,
Yeah, they can be very rude. I had one where
they know everything. and
Yeah.
They can do it, they don't
Yeah.
need a realtor, they've done this before.
Right, exactly. And sometimes what happens is, like I had one for sale by owner actually that I'm working right now too. The husband is totally convinced to meet with me. I'm like, okay, let's set an appointment. I've got to talk to the wife. And, and then so I said, all right, I'm going to stop calling him. I'm going to use this other number that I have, the home number. I caught her and she was totally like, nope, we're good. We don't need it. So, I just offered my assistance any way I can and just stay in touch with them. Keep trying. Yeah, definitely. So some of the questions that you can ask, I've touched on a few of them. But, right now, especially in the Portland market area, there's not enough homes for buyers right now. So there's a shortfall. So with for sale by owners, if they've been on the market a little bit and they haven't successfully got a contract on it, I mean, you can use that. That right now, what I'm hearing in my agency is that there's a shortage of homes for buyers to purchase. So if you're not selling your home and you're in this area, then, it's only a matter of more exposure. So, and I can provide that exposure to you. So.
I just went on an appointment this week with a for sale by owner who said, I'm in the MLS and I don't understand why I'm not getting more activity.
They're in the MLS in Maine and they're for sale by owner?
Yeah, in Portland, actually.
Like entry only, or?
I don't know, but that's what he said. I'm in the MLS and I assumed it was Jason, somebody like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't look it up.
So what it takes is a little different perspective on marketing to get you that activity. Because let's face it, if Maine listings, if MLS sold homes, we wouldn't have how many listings in MLS?
Right.
So
20-something thousand.
right, 20-something thousands. If that's all it took to sell homes, is putting it in Maine listings, then you can use that angle. So let's lead into, let me show you how I get houses sold and get that exposure that we need to get the houses sold. So,
So if they're in the MLS,
Oops, I'm sorry.
Yep.
if they're in the MLS, are they under some kind of contract?
They are,
A kind of a listing
Mhm.
contract, so it's really, you can't mess with that? Or-
right, they have a listing agreement, like there's, it's entry only, it's Jason Sapphire, and they kind of,
It
Like-
is still a listing agreement. They just handle everything. He basically is licensed in Maine, so he puts it in the MLS for them. So I think if it is somebody who's in the MLS as a entry only listing, I think your best approach is to approach them from the buyer angle. Like, I work with buyers every day, and I'd love to have the opportunity to get it and preview your house. Just FYI, guys, just aside from for sale by owners, I had an agent more closer up into my area where the market isn't quite as fast and furious as it is down here. She actually went out previewing homes last week, and she previewed 6 homes, and out of the 6, 5 of them, the sellers were home. None of the other agents went to the showing. She met with the sellers herself, and she said every single one of them was thrilled that she was there to preview their home. And every one of them, she left her card with them, etc. So, if those don't sell, who do you think they may be calling next?
right,
So, and she was just, and it was waterfront properties up in my area, and she said, I just want to be familiar with everything that's for sale on the lake, so I'm just going out previewing everything, so when I have buyers, I know it's there, and 5 out of the 6 were home, had a conversation with the sellers, left their cards, so even previewing homes may be an opportunity to just introduce yourself to somebody. I mean, you're not
That's
soliciting their
interesting.
listing, you
Right.
go at it from that different point of view, and I would do the same thing with the entry-only listing. Go at it, and, hey,
Absolutely.
I want to
That's a
become
great-
familiar with all the homes on the market, I'd love to have the opportunity to preview your home, and hopefully you can meet with them and just give them your card at the same time. And not necessarily solicit the listing, but at least it's a way to introduce yourself to them.
So do you think that they were home because the listing agent let them know that an agent was previewing
Probably.
versus showing?
Yeah.
Because,
Maybe. Yeah, but she said 5 out of 6, the sellers met her at the door. She had a great conversation, and she was just like, wow, I'm gonna start doing this every week.
right,
Like,
I love that idea for the entry onlys,
yeah,
because they're doing everything themselves, so, yeah, go preview those.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so, I used to love the expired, the entry-only ones, because all their contact information is right there, you don't have to look anywhere, so,
Yeah.
they're like easy targets.
They're all on the do not call list, but they want you to call them to,
Right, exactly.
so they're on.
It's not a do not call list to knock on their door, though.
It's not,
I've done a lot of that too, so, yeah, so. Any other questions? Anything else I can help out with? I mean, it's the follow-up really, I think. Yeah.
I agree with that. And
Mhm.
early on, I had quite a few appointments with those, but and I got the vendor door, but I follow up. I gave up on the follow-up.
Follow-up is tough. Yeah, it's one of those things, it sounds simple, all you have to do is follow up with people, but actually doing it, it's not easy.
So do you have an 8x8 specifically designed for FSBOs?
I do, yeah. I use the same one for expireds and FSBOs. So, and the challenge is actually, yeah, getting the system in place so that they don't fall through the cracks. Because over the years, I've done that a lot. Call them once and then, don't follow up and then they're listed with someone else.
I
So,
learned last week, I was working with FSBO for probably the last month and a half, 2 months.
yeah,
Not having call Monday. I didn't call Monday, I just kind of slept in and found call next Monday.
yeah.
I just typed in his address, he listed last Wednesday.
Oh, no, yeah.
So
I've
it
had,
is- you really
got
have
many
to-
stories like
you have
that.
to really follow up on your system.
Yeah.
Once they tell you, hey, listen, I'm not,
Right,
and back off.
right. And even if they tell you enough, I would still send them stuff in the mail.
Yeah.
Like, straight away. Exactly.
6 times average. That's what Tony Giordano says.
6 times
him
to contact them.
6 times contacting them and asking them for business is the average.
Okay.
So, and most agents give up after 1 or 2. So,
It is a challenge because we get busy and like you said, things fall through the cracks. But
Yeah.
if you can get a system in place and actually follow it, yeah, you'll start listing them. Get them in your pipeline.
Just a little bit off topic, but you've been
Yep.
talking also about expireds,
Mhm.
and I asked the same question last week. What is your success rate and how do you obtain contact information for expires, because one of the biggest challenges that I find is just, obviously finding the addresses for these, that's public records, finding the telephone numbers is really a struggle.
That's a challenge, yeah. And I subscribe to a service that provides numbers, and there's several out there. Like I use Vulcan right now, but there's also RedX, there's LandVoice. LandVoice is a free, they usually give a free subscription to that during Gold. So I actually am role-playing with an agent in Michigan right now. Every morning we talk at 6 a.m. and she's using RedX. And I had RedX in the past and I didn't find that it was very accurate. Thank you. And she's finding that she's like, they change things up. It's much more accurate than it used to be. So
If you don't mind me asking, what are you paying for that a month?
for Vulcan, $300 a month. Yeah, but it's, I talk to a lot of people. We're averaging, like my team is using it, and if we dial, like, we're finding like dial 20 times, we're talking to at least one person. So, yeah. So. And then, but there's still a lot that we can't find there. I do a lot of door knocking, and I find that and you can probably do that with a FSBO as well. Knock on their door. If they're not home, leave your business card, and then follow up with them after. I find that's much easier to contact someone once I've already stopped by, because the conversation goes like, this is Angela Lee, Keller Williams Realty. I stopped by your home, you weren't home. I just wanted to make sure you received my card. How can I help you? And just go from there. So actually the last 2 closings I had last week were expired that I door knocked. So it works. And then followed up with them. So, so it's just a lot of, practice the scripts, the role playing. If you can get a role playing partner, I think that's helpful too. So just get more comfortable. And don't be afraid of rejection, because they will. Yeah. Any other questions? Cutting it kind of short.
What you had on the.
Yep.
Again.
Sure.
Where they're,
And you can just hit that close.
So the Zillow, you wanted to see like how the agents come up?
yeah, and
Yeah.
what you say to them, they're already committed to paying down their commission.
Yeah, if they advertise on Zillow and let me just pull it up here. So like this one, this is actually one that she was very rude, like talking to the husband, and then she's like, no. So what you can tell them is, by advertising on Zillow, you've kind of already committed to paying at least a 3% commission, and you have no representation, because these agents have paid for a spot on this site. And when you show them that, where their number is located versus, like, I don't know about you guys, but like, I don't even see property owner really when they've made that all pretty for the agents, and they're paying to be there. So definitely, if you show them, they just don't realize it. So if you point that out to them, that, you're already committed to it, they could call you, have a buyer for your property that was actually a lead calling on your for sale by owner ad. So, if I could show you how I could help you net more money and pay a commission, then wouldn't that be worth it? So, but this is huge. I've done this with quite a few for sale by owners, and they're like, it makes me kind of mad, but it's like,
So what is the,
get mad at Zillow and don't look at it anymore.
I know I probably missed this part that you talked about.
Yeah.
I just reiterate a little bit about.
Yeah. What this is all about. So like a lot of, and you can find FSBOs. Did you see how I found the
No.
for sale by owners? Like if you
Your
like, so Zillow.com, you just search like area, and then you can actually, for us, when you're looking for FSBOs, just search on the town, and then under listing type, you can check it so that it's just the by owners, so you don't see all the ads in the town. It's just the for sale by owners. And then once you get there, it pulls them all up. Yeah. You can actually pull it up and show them. So, say, I'm sure you didn't realize that by advertising on Zillow, that Zillow has taken that information and sold it back to other real estate agents for a position on the page whenever somebody searches your home. So, and then just point out to them that, your number is there for them to contact, but more than likely, they're gonna contact one of these agents that's paid to be part of that, so.
And you get their number.
And you get their number, right there, without driving around looking for signs, so. Yeah.
Thank you.
Is there one site, Craigslist, or whatever, you seem to have had more success with than another?
No,
Not necessarily.
not yet, yeah, not yet, I'm not really finding that, but, as part of the service that I pay for too, the for sale by owners come in automatically to it, so I'm not really looking where they're, yeah. I just got this tidbit, I love that, I love saying to them, they're gonna get your buyer, they're getting your buyers, so you might as well have representation, have someone working for you, get more exposure. Yeah, when can I come over? Type of thing. So. Do you have a question?
No, it was, I was just curious, like, when they are entry only,
Mm-hmm.
is it still, like, I know when we put a listing in, it populates all these other sites.
Yeah.
For an entry only one, is it still?
It depends.
Still
If you ever-
populates?
If you ever go to his website, I would check it out. So it's a fee service, so for X amount of money, you get in the MLS. For X amount of money, you get in the MLS and Realtor.com. So it's a structured price point. So he has like packages that he'll do for them, so it depends on whatever deal they start with. The very cheapest one is, it just goes in the MLS with X amount of pictures. And then.
So it's still this is kind of like 350 sites that our listings will.
It's actually for 78 sites, how many determined, 78? Well, there's 78, but then some of those send it on to like 50 others, so it's really hard to say how many numbers. So I don't know.
For like that entry only, if it's all those layers.
You can ask them that. So do you know if your listing's being syndicated? Because there are different, I would check out his site and see what different levels he offers for different fees. Because if they pay for it, I believe they will get syndicated. But he does have different levels of service that he provides. But it's all just fee based.
Because if not, then that would be another surveillance saying, you're not getting exposure.
When they're already listed, I think you want to be, if they're already listed with entry only, you can go and preview
You don't
the
really want to
home.
solicit the listing if you're
Right.
on entry only mode, because they technically have a listing agreement. You want to make that relationship by coming at it like, hey, I have some buyers that would be interested in your home, I'd love to come preview it. I think so. You're not soliciting their listing, it's just introducing yourself to them as a professional in the market.
If it's an expired entry only listing, then yeah,
Absolutely.
tell
jump on
them.
that, yeah.
Yeah, because I've had expireds that have relisted with entry only, that I've talked to that, I should have shared that. So,
Is entry only typically 90 days or is it 6 months?
I haven't really paid attention to that
Probably
much.
6 months, I don't know now.
Yeah, I don't,
After 6 months, they do it again.
right,
Why, that's.
right.
Next 6
It
months.
all comes down to the money, because they think they're gonna make
Does.
more money or save money by listing with them.
And I would say that's the number one thing, the for sale by owners, they just want to save the commission. They
Doesn't
just
make any
want
money,
to.
it doesn't sell.
Right, right. Well, and you just want to show them the value of listing with you and how they can net more money, just show them the stats. Yeah, and as you do more, retain those stats, turn them into sheets that you can use when you're marketing for sale, for sure. So, yes.
Do you ever come across a for sale by owner that will agree to list with you
Mhm.
under the condition that you take a reduced commission? And if so,
How do I overcome that?
or do you just take it?
Easy one.
So, what's that? That's an
That's
easy
kind
one?
of easy, yeah.
Yeah,
That's why I saw it.
yeah,
There's a script for that.
there's
That's a
definitely.
good one, a really good script for that.
I know, but I'm
Yeah.
just wondering
How I
how
do it.
often you come across it, and if so, what is yours for that?
Right. Well, in one way I overcome that is, like, I never talk commission over the phone either. Like, I always say, if they want it, well, what do you charge? I just need to know what you charge before you come over. I say, you know, I just want to sit down with you, share how I get houses sold, share some other statistics with you, and then we can talk about commission at that time. Does that sound good? How's tomorrow at 3? Never do it over the phone, because if you tell them that, like, I write at 7% most of the time, if I tell people that, I'll never get an appointment. So I gotta get there and show them why paying 7% is worth it, basically. So, so you just, and when you're in person, just when you show them, like, I'm getting 98 in the first 6 months of the year, like, I know that list to sales price, I'm getting 98 point something %, and I have that sheet when I meet with them. So I'm letting them know, it doesn't matter that you're paying, you know, and then I show the all partners slide that we have that shows median sales price for everybody else. And I use average, not median. So it's off a little, but they don't realize that when I'm talking to them. I'm like, all of MLS is getting 96.1% right now, list to sales price. So if I'm getting 98.7, isn't it worth it to pay that extra %? You're still coming out ahead of it to me. So most of the time. Sometimes I write at 6, but yes.
And so I don't do sell by owner.
Okay. Yep, start.
Work, you know, just work on some things.
Yep.
I did have a great coach, and he had a wonderful script, and it would go something like, so, you know, just you come from a place of questioning.
Mm-hmm.
So let me be clear, you are willing to pay a buyer agent 3%.
Mm-hmm.
Great. So that buyer agent is going to be representing the buyer. And in a sense, you're paying another agent to negotiate against you. Don't you want someone to advocate and negotiate on your behalf? I mean, that, and then when you break it down in that way, they will better. I mean, I've gotten like commissions on other things when people say, oh,
See the value.
yeah, and they see the value. They need to know that you're working for them. And by them paying as someone else to represent, by them paying another broker to represent that person, when you put it that way, it doesn't make any sense for them.
Right, and point out that they're not looking out for your best interest. They're,
Everything else, and they can be very nice and very friendly and
Yeah.
shut you up, but the reality is you're working for the buyer, not for you.
I actually have a listing right now that they had a buyer that was interested, and they were gonna hire an attorney and to do the paperwork. So I said, if I could just show you in 15 minutes why you should list with me versus selling this on your own and using an attorney. And I met with them, and you know, I just pointed out that that attorney is gonna want what he gets per hour, whether or not you actually close. It happened to be a short sale. So I'm like, he's gonna want that money whether or not the short sale is approved or not. If you list with me, I'll handle the short sale, I'll work on your behalf, but if I'm not successful, I'm not gonna get paid. So.
I think that's a good strategy, even if it's not a short sale, because there are a percentage of contracts that fall through. And if you're paying an attorney to help you with that contract and so that you get the inspections and the buyer walks and it's followed through, you still have to pay that attorney.
That's true.
Whereas if you're working with an agent, they don't get paid until you actually close. So I think that's a conversation to have as
Even
well.
with a real estate attorney, they're not a professional realtor, they do not understand the market conditions, they might understand the law behind it,
Right.
they don't understand the conditions. What's happening.
Right. Exactly. Yep. Yes. Hi.
What other types of things do you offer as value? Do you offer that you do broker functions and controllers?
I like broker caravans. That's one thing that I'm using to set me apart from the other agents. Broker caravans outside of our agency, like I did a lot of them in my area because it's rural. And if I have a broker open, even if I serve lobster, I don't get people, like you can't get people from Auburn out to some of the remote areas. So with a caravan, everybody commits to going around and looking at everybody's listing. And then I always do lunch at the end, and it's always at my listing, because when you're on a caravan, if you have 10 houses to see, let's face it, the agents are running in, they know what they're doing, they're checking out the home and we're running out and going to the next one. If you have lunch with them, they have to hang out. You can talk about the home and just have more time with them. So that's kind of my strategy. I'm offering that. I'm also offering, like, I just bought a drone and we're taking drone photos. So that's one thing that, you know, especially if you have a waterfront property, you know, that kind of sets us apart. Which I think Kyle on my team, he would, yeah, he's been doing a few of them. So other than that, yeah, just, you know, really getting back to the marketing stats and what we're getting, list to sales price, focusing on that, and where we're going to put it and how much exposure we're going to have, and, you know, just carrying 40 to 50 listings. You know, they're all done the same, whether it's a $50,000 listing or a $300,000 listing. So I'm going to market it the same. Some sell quickly. You know, 3 things sell houses: location, condition, and price. So just gotta get that right. So anything else?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Kind of all over the place. I'm not a teacher. If I was, I would have my summers off. That's what I